Hi, it's me again. I want to first of all thank those that have subscribed. I started this out wondering who's going to subscribe to this Mature Ladies videos, but I feel compelled to share some things. And I think I did a little thing about marriage before, and I kind of hit and left it there, but I feel really compelled to come back, and I may have my next few videos, I should say, deal with some different things as far as marriage is concerned. Some things you may agree with, some things you may not. It doesn't matter. Take whatever you can use, and that's good enough for me. I'm sharing with you some experience and some knowledge regarding marriage. This is my second one. I want to deal with how to divorce proof your marriage. Now, it's not 100%. So please don't say I ended up divorced and I listened to all her videos and all that and I still ended up divorced. Some people just shouldn't even be together. And they came together for different reasons, different moments of need or whatever. So it's not 100%. But I just want to share and help those that I can help. Right now, I want to talk about divorce proofing your marriage again. And I want to continue with this subject. And I want to deal with deception and seduction. And it has nothing really to do with what you think. And what I'm talking about is being deceived by a lie and being seduced by that lie. And these things can really have a negative effect on your marriage. Last time I spoke about this issue, I talked about, and not on the video, but in a setting, I talked about couples and how many times you go through challenges and some major challenges in their marriage. But let me give you a story. And it's a story about a woman who found out that her husband was cheating on her. And when she talked to him and let him know that she knew about what he was doing, he didn't seem to have any remorse about what he was doing. As a matter of fact, he had built this stage of reasons why he felt entitled to this happening. He said he was, the reason why he did it was, it just happened. It just happened. Well, it happened because I'm unhappy. I found someone who understands me. We really get each other. We share the same interests. And these things may be true. But you and I, we've grown apart. And you'd be better off with someone who really cares about you instead of me. Now he falls into the lame lines, the lines that everybody uses when they're just trying to get out of something. But that's okay. It doesn't necessarily mean, even when he come up with the lame lines, that your marriage is over. What it means is stop and do some inventory and not blame yourself, but do some inventory. That's all as far as your relationship. When you do inventory, you're not inventorying just your actions. You're also inventorying the responses you had to his actions. So you're both responsible for this place, not one person. So she decided to go to a counselor, and the counselor spoke with her. And as the counselor listened to her, she realized that this young lady is influenced by things that happened in her childhood that has caused her to respond certain ways to certain events in her marriage that mimicked the patterns that she saw in her family. And so, like her mother, she ended up marrying someone who was emotionally detached, which then could come out like abuse. There must be a reason why they emotionally detach, and it's for their protection, their own emotional protection. It's a subconsciously thing done depending on what you've experienced, because that can go either way. The woman can be emotionally detached, but she married someone who was emotionally detached and unable to really feel the pain that he was causing her. And then she also, her pain that she would feel after every event became a mixed up ball of yarn. She could no longer sort it out anymore. And, but she ended up taking responsibility for what he would not take responsibility for, because that's what her mom would do with her dad. So she repeated this activity. And somewhere in this mess of events, this lie had begun to grow. And you say, well, what lie is that? What is the lie? And that lie is all men are just alike. Or if it's reversed, the guy would think all women are just alike. When in reality, we're not. We're all very different. But if you have all men are just alike, you tend not to pay attention to the red flags. And so you end up going into a relationship with someone because you think they're all alike anyway. So you're not even looking at what they have to offer, what they would bring into your life, what joys you may experience with them, what comfort you may experience with them, because you think they're all alike. And if you think they're all alike, you think at some point they're going to hurt me on purpose, and they're not even going to care. So I have to just accept this. If I want to be in a relationship, I have to accept the fact that all men are alike. And it's not true. That is not a true thing. They're not all alike. Many may be alike, but they're not all alike. Although we might feel that way, we need to kind of reevaluate. If I feel this way, why do I feel this way? Where did this come from? Since I haven't experienced all men, where did this come from? I thought about my marriage. I've been in my relationship, in my marriage for 39 years right now, but we've been together 40 years. So I've spent a lifetime with this man. And there were things that were familiar to what I had experienced down through the years. But I was able to see that ultimately this man was different than those that I had experienced. But I gave myself time to figure that out. And I went through some pains to be able to see that. It didn't just happen overnight, boom, he's not like them. It wasn't like that. It was event and response. And that is how I was able to discover it. I eventually went from no one will take advantage of me, because I had been hurt before him. So by the time I met him, it was like, I'm not ever going to let another man hurt me like I had been hurt. So he had to deal with my past experience because I had drug it into the relationship. So when I said no man will ever hurt me, already I went into the relationship with my guards up. And I'm already going to have a problem when that happens. But I did. And I wasn't aware that that's what I was doing, but that's what I did. And so then I became really self-absorbed. I became afraid of every movie made. I became paranoid every time he wasn't at home, because my assumption was if he's not at home, he's somewhere else doing something. And that wasn't always so in reality, but it was always so in my head. And I then became emotionally helpless. And that is very damaging to a relationship. Sometimes the battle is really in our minds and it's not in the relationship. But we take the battle on in the relationship and begin to destroy it because of our resolve. All men are alike, or all women are alike. I never wanted to be dependent on my husband ever, because my assumption is he was going to let me down. He never did, but I assumed it for a lot of years until finally I came to the point of realizing he didn't let me down. He did some stuff now. Anything that you can name in a relationship that you have gone through that have been painful or hurtful or even destructive, Believe me, we went through it. One thing that we knew is when we came together, first of all, as I told you before, divorce, we made a resolve divorce was not an option. Regardless to what we experienced, divorce is not an option. So that means we have to negotiate. That was number one. And then number two was that we would always be able to talk about it. I did have to choose my battles and I did have to choose my presentation, but we talked about it. And we felt that we were together for a reason. And we wanted to discover what that reason was because of the way we met. So we felt like we were together for a reason. And later we found that out. My husband became a pastor. I was his wife. I was familiar with church because I grew up in church. And so he didn't have to battle with me regarding any of that. So I feel like God knew that he needed someone who understood his call. And I needed someone that understood my pain. I didn't get that initially, but later on he began to understand it. We're no longer pastoring a church now. We are still pastors. We're members on staff somewhere else. But we are enjoying being able to minister to other people, to share with them what our experiences have been in the past, and where it brought us and how we got to where we are now. It is important to leave this information with someone else and help someone else's life, and that's why I'm doing this. It's important to do it, and it to me is part of my legacy. Anyway. After all of that, going through all of the things that could affect a marriage, affect an ordained relationship, after going through all of that, I finally came to a resolve. But before that, I would not allow my husband to tell me anything. It's like if he said go left, I went right. If he said the sky was blue, I'd say it was yellow. I was just, you're not going to manipulate me, because that's what I had experienced and witnessed. So I was repeating that. Even when it came to God, it was like I wanted God in my life, but he can sit in the car. It was like being in a car with God. He could sit in the car with me, but I was going to do the driving. And that was that. And so I had to grow out of all of that. The reality is that all of us, are wounded through life by circumstances, by people, and our own ignorance. Sometimes we allow the enemy to take shots at us, at our good marriages. He shoots the wound. Not even if the person, maybe what they did was similar, but it wasn't the same, but the wound is still open. So he focuses on the wound, and then and keep reopening that thing, and it gets more before it can scab over. Here you are, your wound is still there, bleeding. And the purpose that the enemy does is he takes your perception, because he can't really do anything to you, but he can mess with your mind, and your mind does the work that needs to be done. Deceive you and ultimately destroy your marriage. The taking pot shots, always taking pot shots at the wounded areas of your life. And divorce is the end destruction of a holy union. And it comes through believing lies. Now I'm going to stop here because I'm going to be doing several videos on this. I can pick it up somewhere else. But look and reassess, evaluate what you believe about men and about women and about your relationship and about marriage. Evaluate it. Write it down. Make a list of good and make a list of bad. And start listing down, if you're in a relationship or in a marriage, list all your partner's good qualities and list all your partner's bad qualities. And then see which list is longest, and be very honest. Don't be angry when you write this, but be very honest when you write this list down. I promise you, if you're in a good relationship, in an ordained relationship, your list of good will be longer than your list of bad. And then we can pick it up from there. Have a really good day. Subscribe. Let me know that you're listening. Let me know that this is a topic you're interested in. I want to share it. And until I talk to you again, have a good day. And again, subscribe. Bye-bye.